is Jill here in my Empowered Fitness community for women over 40, looking to get energized, confident, and strong. Thanks for waiting for me. I'm 1 minute late today because I was having a wonderful client call with my client Claudine. We were doing one of our 2 monthly momentum calls, we call them. And they always make me so excited because I get to see my clients face to face. We get to work through any problems. We get to share wins. I'm going to share Claudine's win. She was so confused when she walked by her sister's mirror that she looked so good. She asked her sister if there was something wrong with the mirror, and her sister's like, no, you just look that good. So that's a really fun win. And so we also, Claudine's going to test out a brand new meal plan that I am literally finishing up, putting together today. It's a 3-day, kind of like a 3-day quick fix to get you back on track, feeling your best, losing a few pounds, getting rid of the bloat. And so I'm excited. I'm going to test it as well next week, and I'll be looking for testers for my new little 3-day meal plan. So I just got to finish up the shopping list. Anywho, it's Wednesday. So today is our day to do a question and answer session. It's going to last about 30 minutes. And what I do is I take the questions that were asked by the newest members of our group. This is a really great place for me to get to know you and what you're going through, and for you to get to know me and what I offer, and to answer your questions and to start getting some direction as to, how do I get to my goals and how do I get going? So every week we do 2 lives for those of you who are new. On Mondays, we do Monday Motivation, and on Wednesdays, we do this Q&A session. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through and answer some questions. If you have a question that you want answered about anything, fitness, nutrition, hormones, weight gain, weight loss, whatever you like, you're welcome to put them in the comments below. You can always watch this on the replay. It'll stay here in the group. I always send it out in an email. I also put it on my YouTube channel. So, and you can just click my name anytime and shoot me a message and get in touch. I always recommend that if you haven't had one, that you set up a free game plan call with me. I've included the link here. And so that's an awesome way for us to get to know each other one-on-one. Like I said, they're free. They last about 45 minutes. And we like to figure out what your goals are, what's holding you back, and kind of game plan together. What can propel you forward? And if it feels like a good fit, then I can give you some options on how to work with me and give you an idea of that, answer any questions there. And then I also included a link here for anybody who needs a little 3-day test drive in fitness. I have an online library with all of my strength training programs. There's over 10 programs in there. There's also tons, like hundreds of extra workouts, HIIT workouts, kickboxing workouts, total body conditioning workouts, stretching, and there's a meal plan for every week of the year. And so that is an online fitness subscription. It's kind of like a do-it-yourself. So I'm not in there coaching you, checking in, but you can have access to all of my fitness programs that way. And we have what we call the 3-day test drive. So it's like a free 3-day trial when you sign up for whether it's a weekly, a monthly, or a longer term plan, and you get to test it out before you even get charged. So you could cancel it if you don't like it, but there is a 3-day program in there for 15 minutes of arms, abs, and glutes, which is a great way to check it out and see if you like it. So I included the link to that here as well. All right. So say hi when you're on. I see a lot of people are on here, so thank you for joining. And if you have any questions along the way, feel free to ask them. I'm going to jump right in. We've got Colette from Tennessee. Welcome, Colette. Glad to have you here learning about me, the program, and taking some resources, anything you can. So Colette says that what's holding her back from achieving success is learning to eat right and making the right foods. And she asked me, why can't I lose weight in my belly? So how am I going to know unless we have a chat, right? So Colette, go ahead and set up a call with me. So what I generally like to do on the calls too is to run through and ask you, what do you eat in a day? Tell me about it. And I can generally find the red flags that might be holding you back, and we can make some immediate tweaks to help you get past the hurdles. But learning to eat right, making the right food choices it gets much more important that you're doing the right things as we hit 40 and beyond, right? And so, what happens is we used to have these hormones, estrogen and progesterone, that helped us with a lot of things. Estrogen in particular helped us with our blood sugar management, helped us with our fat storage, and that declines as we get older and no longer need these specifically reproductive hormones. And so what happens is we need to take over. We need to understand and learn what it takes, and a lot of it has to do with blood sugar regulation. So even healthy foods, like, you know, if you're like, I eat fruit, I eat tons of fruit. Well, tons of fruit could be spiking your blood sugar. So there's even foods that we have to be careful. You know, I eat healthy, like whole wheat toast in the morning and oatmeal. Well, are you eating that with protein, or are you having toast and fruit? Because that's a lot of sugar, right? Without the protein and the healthy fats evening that out, that can really spike your blood sugar. And so these are things that we do need to learn. And so what I like to do is educate for empowerment, right? So if you understand the concept that eating a ton of carbs alone in the morning is not actually going to help you to your goals, and I tell you, you got to make sure that protein gets in first, then you can already know and start making better decisions, and those decisions are going to add up, right? So empowering you with those tools. So what I like to do in terms of nutrition is eliminate the guesswork, right? And I always love to use this analogy of when you're going to a new place. Let's say you have a new doctor's appointment, or you have to take your kids somewhere new. I know I have to take my kids to new places all the time. We have soccer games all over the state, and we got to go to different schools, and we got to go to different fields. And if I didn't take that address and put it into my Google Maps and have it tell me the turn by turn and exactly what time we're going to get there, number one, we'd always be late. Number two, we'd always be lost. And so if you feel like you're lost and you're not getting to your goals in a timely manner, then perhaps you don't have that specific framework and those specific directions on how to get there. And so that's what I like to teach. I don't just give out meal plans. I like to teach the frameworks that will get you the most success. And I know it's hard to stick to a framework for a very long time. So I like to teach multiple frameworks. I teach 5 different frameworks for success so that you can have success and change up your approach and still find joy in what you're doing by keeping it new and fresh. Okay. So Colette, I think I have a lot of great tools for you, but I'd love to get to know you better. So go ahead and book a call with me and we can move on to the next, steps. Okay. We've got Tammy. Tammy says menopause is holding her back. She wants to get to 170 pounds. She says she's stuck after losing 50 pounds since last April. Congratulations, Tammy. That's amazing. 50-pound weight loss is awesome. I understand you feel like you're not yet done, but you're stuck at a plateau. So her question is, how do you overcome a plateau after losing 50 pounds? And why did she stop losing? So here's what happens. The body is smart. And the body likes to stay where it is. It doesn't like to keep changing. And so what happens is our body adjusts to what we're doing. And let's say you're doing like a ton of running and you're burning a ton of calories. Then your body eventually is going to figure out where it can kind of like keep your metabolism so that you're not burning so many calories that that the food's not supporting you and that you're losing a ton of weight, you're losing a ton of, muscle mass. And so your body has to adjust itself. So that's why sometimes no matter how hard we diet for a really long time, the body figures it out and adjusts itself so you stop losing weight. And so that's where we have to kind of trick the body and change our approach. And so that's why in my coaching, I take a phased approach. So we can't do the same thing forever. What got you from point A to point B is not going to be what gets you from B to C to D and so on. You're going to have to keep leveling up, changing your approach, doing different things. And honestly, it makes sense because like we have different seasons in the year, there's different times that it's a really good idea to take different approaches. For instance, in the winter, if you're wearing extra clothing, you don't care if you have, flat abs, right? At that point, and and beautiful arms, because nobody's seeing it. So that's a good time of year to be doing more of a build phase where you maybe eat a little more, you do a little more strength training, and you start building up the muscle. Because come spring and summer, when you start to shed the clothing, that's a better time to be doing more of a shred phase where you eat a little lighter. Maybe you go outside for a little more cardio work and you see the weight coming off, the fat layer coming off, and perhaps you lose a little bit of your muscle mass in that process. But if you're constantly trying to eat less and work out more, then you just get stuck. Okay? So working in phases is a much better approach. Not only that, but if you're weightlifting the entire year, your muscles are going to get tired. They need a break. You got to change up your approach here and there. And so that's another reason why phased workouts and phased nutrition is going to be really beneficial for you and help you overcome plateaus. Okay? That's the key. Tammy, let's have a call and talk about where you're at and how we can get you over that hump to the next level. We've got Julie, and Julie says what's holding her back is the cost and the amount of time some programs require. She also mentioned that she has lower back issues, and she's found in some programs that doing what everybody else was doing, that they've made her have flare-ups with her back pain. I think a lot of you know that I went through a massive back injury back in 2008. So that's like 18 years ago. And if I do the wrong things, I also get flare-ups. I lived in pain for 6 years. It was horrible. I was in a bad mood for 6 years, and I did all the different things. I did nerve shot blocks. I did pain management. I did chiropractic. I did stim, ultrasound, physical therapy. I did a lot of different therapies, and none of them worked for me long term. What worked was when I started to get rid of a lot of my stress and focus on total body recomposition, building a ton of strength in my core and my whole body to support the activities that I needed to do. So that was really big. So it wasn't laying off the weights. It was actually doubling down on my strength training that helped me while also taking care of my core and making modifications as needed to protect my back. That doesn't mean it's the same thing for everybody. I can't claim that anything will cure anything, but it's really important that we individualize a plan for somebody who has any kind of injury, right? So with regards to the cost and amount of time, for me personally, I totally understand. I have high ticket coaching, which is a lot of personal time with me. I have clients who come to my house. That's going to be more expensive because we're sitting here, we're taking hours together. And so I do have the higher ticket program. I think it's amazing because you get all the bells and whistles. You get all of me. You get all of my community. You really get everything you need. But I know everybody can't afford the top tier, right? Same in cars. Some people are driving Lexus and some people are driving Toyotas. I'm sure there's a lot of expensive Toyotas out there too. So, and then we have everything in between, right? All the way down to a lower cost. That's going to be maybe my online fitness subscription, which I don't need to be there for you because I've built everything for you, but it still gives you access to a lot of the tools that you need. So I like to have different options at every place so that they fit everybody's budget. With regards to time, that's something too that I've struggled with throughout my whole journey, right? When I was working as a VP of finance and accounting, commuting 4 hours a day from, Westchester County down to, or Putnam County down to New York City, Connecticut to New York City. I was doing a lot of commuting and I did not have a ton of time for workouts. After that, I had 2 children. After that, I became an entrepreneur and you're working all day long, and so now these boys have soccer all over the state. And so time is something that I've always been cognizant of. How do we do more effective training in less time? Even some of my clients have really inspired some of my more recent programs. My old client Osi, who is an elementary school principal dealing with children, parents, administrators, teachers, the higher ups, the superintendents. And she was struggling to get in 20 or 30 minutes a day. And so I created the 10-minute tone up so that she could still be consistent and be making progress even during the busiest times of the school year. So I truly believe that you can make progress even with a tiny bit of time. And in fact, if you are honed in on your fitness and your nutrition, everything is planned out, you can take a little bit of time to do the planning, then it saves you so much time and it gets you the results that you want. So Julie's question to me was, can it be done? Yes, you can achieve anything. You just have to have that support, the right plan, and what works for you. So again, the best way to figure out what the best plan is for you and what fits your budget is to schedule a free call with me, Julie, and we can chat. We can figure out if there is a good solution for you that I have, which one that is, and we can give it a go and see if it works. Okay. All right. If anybody has questions, I see a lot of you on here. Go ahead and drop a question below if you like. I think I would be seeing the comments. I don't know. Hopefully. Say hi. Let me know you're there. We'll see if I can see the comments. Lupita, let's see. She says, I need to be educated. She wants to lose weight. And she said, why can't I lose weight? Well, we got to figure out which pieces of education you're missing, get you educated, empowered, and get you on a plan, and then keep you consistent on it, and then tweak as we go. Let's do it, right? Let's hop on that call. Let's figure it out, and we can make progress. Sometimes it's like a messy start. It's like, let me just start something and we'll figure it out along the way. That's something that I have found this week with my newest client, Pam, in our Empowered Fitness Mastery program. She's not even doing her kickoff call with me until tomorrow. She signed up on Sunday, and Monday, she was in it. And I saw she did her first workout yesterday. It didn't happen Monday, but she got it done on Tuesday. And she's asked me 3 or 4 questions. She started meal plan Monday. It was super messy trying to get going and making substitutions. And last night she asked me a question. She's like, oh, I ate the wrong thing tonight. I was like, just keep going and I'll talk to you tomorrow about it, And so messy action is better than no action. And so take some action, set up a call. The link is here for you. And we will get you going in the right direction, educated, and that's we're probably just doing the wrong things and not even realizing. So we can do it. We can turn this around. All right, Karen P. She says she's not sure what to eat. She says, why am I exercising, eating right, and gaining weight? Well, we could be doing the wrong exercises, right? We could be doing exercises that cause inflammation. We could be eating not enough. So if we're doing, let's say we're doing a ton of cardio, right? And we're not eating enough, that's the X, right? That's where we get stuck because we're not in alignment. Eat more, work out more. Eat less, work out less. So that could be it. You could just have like this wrong combo. Eating right does not mean eating for weight loss, right? If we eat all the healthy fruits and vegetables, but we don't get enough healthy fats and proteins, then we're out of alignment and you're not going to lose weight that way. So it could be a lot of things. That's why it's good for us to have a call and to kind of go through what exercise are you doing? What are you eating? And then there's a lot of other factors when it comes to this age, right? So if I was training 20-year-olds, then it's pretty easy fix, right? Tell me about your diet, tell me about your exercise. When it comes to 40, 50, 60s, 70s, I got to start asking more questions. How are you sleeping? Have you had your hormones evaluated? How much stress you got going on in your life? And other factors. Are you getting recovery in, right? There's other factors that come into play, and we have to have all of the pillars aligned. Otherwise, you could be eating right and exercising and still getting nowhere, okay? All right, we got Kathy. Kathy says, I've stopped losing weight for no apparent reason. I don't cheat on my diet because I'm determined to lose weight. Why have I stopped losing? So my question is, what is this diet? And when I hear cheat on my diet, it doesn't sound very healthy, right? It doesn't sound like a good mindset. It sounds like maybe if you cheat on your diet, you then are punishing yourself for some reason. I don't think that sounds like a very fun life where we don't ever cheat on our diet. It sounds very restrictive. We could be eating too little. We could be just never getting a change, right? So if you said, Jill, I ate, one slice of toast and a small salad with no dressing and, a turkey burger for dinner for the last month and I didn't lose any weight. I mean, it's possible that your body was like, are we starving over here? Like, shall we slow the metabolism down? Make sure this lady doesn't die. So there could be something wrong going on, right? Another thing is a lot of people say, I don't even eat any sugar in my diet. And then they list a whole bunch of foods that have a whole bunch of crazy chemicals and additives and this and that, and are just a ton of junk, right? What they think is healthy, but it's actually just manufactured junk. That could be a problem too, because our bodies don't like chemicals and they don't know what to do with them, right? So there's a lot of question marks here, which we can go over in a call together, Kathy. I would love to do that with you. I promise I'm not scary on the calls. Cindy, she wants to drop 30 pounds, go from 170 to 140 and get rid of her belly. She says, with all the sweats, mood swings, lack of sleep. Oh, will they? Will the sweats, the mood swings, the lack of sleep get better with this diet plan? So I wouldn't call my things diet plans. Again, that's a very negative connotation. But my nutrition frameworks, yes. In particular, I have a menopausal metabolism nutrition framework that will help you with that blood sugar regulation. And in addition, I generally start most of my clients, which is what Pam's doing this week, with my 5-day Kickstart Cleanse, which gives your digestive system a rest, and that helps to calm your nervous system. And that is exactly what gets rid of night sweats, mood swings, and sleep issues. I know many of you came through my Facebook ads, which in one of them I talk about Wendy, who when she started, and I see Wendy still doing my fitness subscription. I get a little notification every day when she does her workout. I saw, when Wendy started with me, she was just floored. She said, I slept more in these last 5 days than I have in the last 2 years. And she just talked about how much at ease she felt with the 5-day Kickstart Cleanse. And that is just a nutrition plan that is easy on the stomach. Your digestive system, like I said, can process the foods easily. It gives it a rest. Your nervous system calms down. We take the workouts down a notch if you've been doing really tough workouts. If you haven't been doing any workouts, we add some workouts in, and it's just a really great way to manage these symptoms that happen when there's a misalignment. And so, yes, all of my tools are built for women going through these hormonal changes. And so I think we can help you, Cindy. All right. We've got 5 minutes, and we got Lisa, who says she's struggling with motivation. And she says, how do I sort the BS from the truth? I think this is a really great opportunity, right? These little Q&As, my weekly motivation, having my YouTube channel. I mean, I put like all kinds of things from my life on my Facebook. And so being able to kind of like suss out the people whose programs you're looking at is really important. So trusting the person. For me, I can tell you, and I'm always happy to answer questions, my program, Jill Ortiz Fitness, my company, it's literally only me. There are no coaches. There is nobody else. Nobody's making graphics. Nobody's answering my messages. It is all 100% me. So I know each person I talk to. I have the interactions. I do the coaching. I do the programming. I do the nutrition. And so I know exactly what you're getting, and I can tell you exactly what you're getting. And then you can make your judgments, and we can kind of feel each other out. One thing that I've always heard is when we have these calls and I sign up a new client, I generally get the comment, wow, I feel like I've known you forever. Or, I really like you. Like, I really trust that you're telling me stuff that I can get behind. I get it. And so that's really important. And so I don't care if you go with me or another coach. I just want you to make sure that you trust that person and understand where they're coming from and what they're trying to help you with. I do think that the really large programs are not as easy to be flexible. So if you have special situations, I've had clients with a lot of different medical conditions and just needs for modifications. And so if you're somebody who you need modifications, or you like to be handheld and have that one-on-one time and have your coach know who you are, then I think that my program is a really great place to be. Otherwise, yes, there's probably a lot of people out there who are not qualified, not educated, not have experience with, particularly you. I think that's why it's important to also have a certain niche that we work with as a professional and not work with everybody. That's something that I've been able to really tailor my programs to the 40 plus female community going through all these changes and struggling with particular things, so that I can create the programs that are exactly for that set of women. And so I think do your research. And another great thing is when you can actually get in touch with somebody in the program, right? So I've had things in my business where I was maybe looking into a business coach, and I said to them, can you put me in touch with some of your clients? And they didn't want me to talk to their clients. And I'd be like, okay, well, never mind. Because if you don't want your clients to talk to other people and give honest feedback, then there sounds like there's something to hide. So I'm always tagging my clients. They're in here. They can, let you know who they are, and you're welcome to ask questions. And if you wanted to be put in touch with anybody, I'm always happy to do that. All right. Okay, we got two more. We got Morgan and we've got Tracy. So Morgan says she's going through menopause. That's what's holding her back. She says, what is the right combo of macros? How do I ramp up my metabolism? So the general answer from me in terms of the right combo of macros is generally going to be to start with something that's balanced macros. So for those of you who don't know what macros are, that is your breakdown of all of your foods go into three macro buckets, three big buckets: carbs, fats, and proteins. And a good place to start is to have somewhat of a balanced approach to the three of them, and then figure out by testing different things what works for you. And it also can depend on what kind of workouts you're doing and who you are and where you are in life. And so generally, this population of women over 40 is going to have a little more protein than carbs, unless you're doing something that's heavy cardio, right? And so what's really neat is I have a group of my clients testing out a brand new framework of nutrition, a macros-based framework where we're actually changing our food depending on whether we're doing strength or cardio or stretching in a particular day. And so that's something that, again, a lot of it comes down to testing, because we're all very unique individuals. And so what works for one person doesn't always work for another. But what is neat is to be able to know which one you're doing, to test it, and then try something else and see what works best for you, and to kind of like change the dials a little bit. The question Morgan had as to how do I ramp up my metabolism? Number one, it could be eating more. It could be eating more protein. It could be doing more strength training to build more muscle in your body. More muscle in your body is going to mean a better, healthier, more flexible metabolism. And so you want that more muscle in your body than fat. You're going to want more food to fuel the muscle growth, and you're going to want to do more workouts, maybe not necessarily more, but pushing harder in your strength workouts and possibly dialing back on your cardio workouts. So that's how I've built all of my programs in my coaching, is to be doing more of the right things that get us the results that we need, okay? And finally, we've got Tracy. She says, I don't know what exercises to do to get rid of my belly fat. So exercises don't get rid of belly fat. That's gonna be more recovery, rest, cortisol control, stress control, and nutrition. But her goal is flat belly. She asks, should I do crunches or sit-ups every day to flatten my belly? And that's a funny thing. No, not crunches and sit-ups, because if you think about crunches and sit-ups, a lot of people, when they do crunches and sit-ups, they like squeeze their muscles, and that can create like short, puffy, fat abs that stick out. More importantly is kind of like that corset effect, right? If you think about a corset, it draws you in, you get laced up, right? And if you do that, you're kind of just contracting your abs and making them tighter and drawing them in. That might be more effective than just doing a ton of crunches every day. So number one, you can do core work every day. What I've created is my Jill's Killer Abs program and my Iron Core 360 program. One is just abs, the other one is abs, and golf talk. Those two programs, they're each 20 ab workouts. And what I have done for years is go from the 1st to the 20th of the month and do one every day. They're 7 to 8 minutes, 4 days of core and 1 day of glutes. And they work the core from all different angles so that you're not just constantly doing the same muscles and the same, workout move or same exercise, because that it's kind of like you're not going to do bicep curls for 100 days straight. That wouldn't be very good for your muscles. So you can't work the same muscles in the same way every day, but you can work your muscles in different ways. So no, don't do crunches and sit-ups every day, especially if you're somebody who pushes your abs out. That can make you look like you have a distended belly, not a flat belly. Planks are going to be better for the flat belly, and creating that stability and good posture is really important too. So good nutrition and Jill's Killer Abs, those are a really great place to start. If you need that combo, just message me or set up a call and we get you started there. I love doing ab workouts. I think it's very effective, not only for that flat toned, strong belly, but it gives us longevity. It helps our spine. It helps your low back be supported to avoid back pain, and it helps you feel really strong and controlled through your core. So, but you got to have that nutrition too. You got to have the nutrition down. So, all right. Thank you everybody for joining me. If you need anything, give me a shout. If you want to set up a call, go ahead and click the link to do that. If you want to give the online workout library a test, go ahead and sign up for that. I've given you the link to that too. And keep an eye out for all the great things. And I will see you on Monday for our Monday motivation. Bye. Enjoy the rest of your week.